What brought you to the island then?
Well, I brought an high-speed launch to Groves and Guffridge for overall. And I was billeted at West Cowes, and the woman that owned the house, she was my wife's sister. So that's how I met my wife. And of course, got married, stayed here. Well, when I first came here was 1945, after the war finished.
So how did you end up as a crew member of a light vessel?
I went to Trinity House for a job, and I was working on deck on the Barndale, which was a naval boom defence ship. They were very dirty ships to be on, coal burners. You had a shower, and by the time you got back to the forecastle to get dressed, you're dirty again. But still, they did the job. And then November 1946, number 1 light vessel, which was built at Dartmouth, was put on station at the Royal Sovereign, and I joined her at the end of November. I spent 2 years there as a fog signal driver. Before the war, when they had ships that used oil lamps, the senior one was the lamplighter. The next one to him was a fog signal driver, and the junior one was a seaman. And I got promotion in 1948 to the Shambles as a lamplighter, or a senior light and fog signal driver. I did 10 years at the Shambles and moved into the Calshot, which was a senior hand station, and spent 2 years in there. I was then senior enough to be made master.
How comfortable was it on board? Did you ever sleep in a hammock?
Only in the very early days. When I went to the Calshot Spit in 1946, I did 1 month there, and we slept in hammocks. But they were fitting all the ships out with bunks.
How did you spend your spare time?
Well, the chaps, they had all sorts of hobbies. Mat making, ships in bottles. That was the main thing. Some used to do knitting. One old skipper I used to know used to do all his own socks even, which wasn't easy.
How did you look after the food on the light vessel?
We had wooden buckets, and you'd half fill it with water and put a potato in it. Then you'd add salt, and when that potato floated, you knew it was salty enough, so then you could put your beef in there, and that would keep. I didn't particularly like salt beef myself, but the lamb particularly, if you cooked it, cut it up into cubes, put it into glass jars, and put the lamb fat over it, and that would keep for months. I think the lighthouse chaps, they used to do quite a lot of that. But later, of course, when we got freezers, no problem.
So you relied on your shipmates to be good cooks?
Yes. There was one case, because we used to have, if one of the regular crew were missing, they employed extra men. And a man called Bill Cake, well known in East Cowes, ex-Navy. And well, he hated doing cooking, but he did it. And he always wore a black beret. And one day I asked him, I said, Bill, why do you put that beret on when you're cooking? You never wear it other times. Well, he said, you don't want any dandruff, he said, from my hair falling into the gravy. Of course, he forgot about the cigarette he had in his mouth with about an inch of ash on the end of it. Yeah.